All right, Tara, welcome back to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm so excited to have you here, and I am sure our listeners are as well, because 2024 was kind of a doozy when it came to ads and business and all of it with the election year, and just it was just kind of a wonky year in general.
For everybody, for sure. I mean, that was, you and I were talking in the pre-show, but that was so many businesses, every industry. I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty floating around, and fortunately we don't.
It's pretty normal for an election year, though.
100%.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I know, I think back to one of my very first launches that I was doing, and it was the first time that I had ever spent $5,000 on ads. And I was like, this is it. And I was so excited. And I ran my ads like right around, it was in November. It was right around the election year. And I had nobody join my program.
Oh.
I was like, what happened? And turns out it was election year. There was a whole heck of a lot of noise going on. I did rerun the launch at a later date and did great. So it was, there is hope at the end of the tunnel. But for those spas who maybe haven't been running ads during an election year or during a time of economic uncertainty, this is kind of the fun part of entrepreneurship, where we get a little bit scrappy and we see what we're made of.
Yes, it's so true. It's so true. It forces creativity and innovation. Yes. And honestly, I mean, none of us like to go through those hard moments. We all avoid them. It's human nature.
It's human nature, yeah.
But when you look back, those are the moments that create new possibilities for your business. Those are the moments that create innovation within your company. And it's where people start trying things. Your team starts trying new things, you start trying new things. And that's where, that's how all of this, different initiatives that produce, new results. That's how all of this happens. So it's a good thing, but it's a very challenging thing to go through.
So let's talk about the kind of transition of what happened between, 2024 to now. We saw there's been some pretty big changes to Meta, specifically in the health and wellness space. What do spa owners need to know? Let's just start with that, and then we'll get into what has changed for 2025 for you. How long have you been doing ads now?
10 years.
10 years. Okay. Yeah. So you've seen, a lot of, ups and downs with different things. And I would love kind of your predictions of what to expect in 2025. And obviously, nobody can predict the future, but based on kind of your experience and the vibe of everything right now, I'd love to know your insight or your advice on, where spa owners can go from here and what they should be doing in terms of ads.
100%. So I think that we're going to see a nice recovery. In fact, we already started to see it. As soon as those election results were kind of solidified, we knew it was happening. You started to see consumer trends relax, or consumer behavior, I guess, relax a little bit. People starting to get back to their routine. You now have certainty. Or more certainty than you had before about what's going to happen. So I think that there's going to be a nice recovery. I do expect that Q1 will be super solid for so many businesses, especially those that maybe struggled, and again, especially if you were running ads as you ran into kind of those election budgets. And by the way, the majority of the election budget was spent between September and the end of October. And the very, tail end of it was spent in those first few days in November. But I would say, if you started to experience maybe August was doing okay, you're at the end of summer, so you always have that challenge. And now you're getting into September, you're expecting it to be great, back to school, the fall. And you're like, wait, why is this not shaping up? That's probably why. And so I think that there is a lot of great things happening. There's also a few things that are happening in terms of policy. You think about all of the social media platforms kind of tightening up their policy, particularly when it comes to advertisers, and also with organic, not being so outlandish with claims. You have a lot of health and wellness providers out there that compete with spa. In terms of ad space, right? They're not your direct competitors, but they are competing in terms of being in the health and wellness space and
Are
trying
you
to buy
talking
up.
about like beauty influencers, or are you
Yeah, you've got
talking
beauty, you've
about
got a
like,
ton of beauty. You've got also just like think of all of the big space that's kind of being disrupted right now is the like the online prescribing companies. Okay, so you can't really call them pharmacies. They actually have like a different workaround which allows them to do this. But think of the companies that are prescribing what normally you would need to go into the doctor for. I mean, there's so many categories there. GLP-1s, you're thinking of like beauty, right? And specifically, you're also thinking of other prescriptions like for anxiety, things like that. Things that, again, you would have to normally go to a doctor for. That space has exploded and it has been competitive. In other words, they're trying to get in front of your ideal client as well. And so you always have to think, well, they're not your direct competitors. No, they're not in all cases. However, in some cases they are. However, they are trying to get in front of your ideal customer. So the big thing to know there is that space is being disrupted with new policy. And it's pretty significant. And so as a spa owner, you just really want to play by the rules right now. So when I say that, the things that you want to be mindful of is no before and afters. I know you see a ton of them. I do expect Meta to crack down on that pretty significantly. That is in the official policy, but they're really going hard. You want to be mindful of, especially when you're talking about anything beauty or weight loss or anything like that, body contouring, anything in those kind of categories, you want to think about being really mindful to not say the words you or your too many times in your ads. I always recommend 1 to 2 instances max if you want to be playing it really, really safe. And you want to be careful to not go heavy on the negative. So I won't elaborate too much there, but Meta, when I say Meta, that means Facebook and Instagram. They want the newsfeed to feel positive and uplifting. And so when you start going into the negative, so I'll give a really, really like direct example that probably not very many of us would say this in our ads this way, but it's like, do you wish you could get rid of that extra 5 pounds? Well, when you say something that direct, okay, and I'm going into like weight loss as an example, the person comes away and says, oh, I really dislike that Meta knows that about me. It feels creepy. I don't like that. I feel bad about myself. So instead, you want to get people into a more positive framework, and that's going to work for you in terms of the policies as well as your ad costs staying significantly lower. So there's a lot of reasons to that, but we'll just kind of leave it there that you want to use that, there's some policy updates that are happening. You want to use that to your advantage. And let me tell you, if you play by the rules, you're going to be in the top like 20%. And then if you infuse your ads with sales psychology and things like that, you're going to be in the top 1%. So there's a lot of ways to win this year. And I suspect that Meta is going to make some of their ad types, which we're going to talk about in a moment, 10 times better because of these policy updates. So these right here, everything I just said could be your serious competitive advantage for 2025.
So we saw there was a report that was put out by Skytail Group and QSite. We'll be sure to link that up in the notes here, but they put out a report. They have direct data from spas where they're seeing actual numbers, not just, kind of guessing what's going on. And from 2023 to 2024, there was a 236% increase in medically assisted weight loss. Whether it's semaglutide, tirzepatide, whatever type of medication you're using. And I know it's continued to go up in 2024. It was all over the place. And so with so many medical spas and providers bringing this service in or kind of shifting their focus, the competition has become greater. And additionally, you said, there are those prescribers directly where you can just order the medication from a pharmacy. How are we appropriately doing ads to build this portion of our business? I know I'm biased, but I'm always going to think that having a licensed professional guide you when you're taking a drug, that's always going to be the best way,
Some accounts do fine, honestly. I'll tell you the straight truth. Some accounts can actually advertise pretty directly for these services. It makes me nervous because much of it goes against a lot of Facebook policy, but many accounts are able to just straight up advertise. Okay. So keep that in mind. Most accounts, and what I will always recommend, is going pretty light on mentioning, anything brand name, anything by name, and or really lengthy ads. Because one of the things that you want to know is if you are,
let me just interrupt you real quick there,
yeah,
because you said by name. Are we talking about the drug name? Are we talking about, can you say GLP-1? Can you say
yeah,
semaglutide? Can you say, like Ozempic
yes.
or whatever? Like what does that mean by name?
Okay, there's so much sensitivity. We have seen accounts in the medical spa space that can say semaglutide, no problem. They're advertising just fine. Again, it makes me a little bit nervous because it's like, oh, that gets into dicey territory with policy. We have other accounts, the second they don't even let their ads run. The second it's an ad, it automatically flags it as a policy error or violation. It says you got to rework your ads, right? So for those accounts, even saying GLP-1 or like more umbrella category can also trigger those violations. So in those cases, you want to mention solutions for weight loss. Solutions and weight loss is another area that can actually be a little bit of a trigger for your ads. So you want to be careful. Every account's going to have different sensitivities. It depends on what the algorithm knows about your business and like how much it knows, right? So how much you've advertised in the past, kind of building, quote unquote, that trust score. And so, for many accounts that are very sensitive, and there's plenty of them out there, I would say the majority are very, very sensitive. What we've seen work very well is just very short and sweet ads. So you don't want to say too much. You can say, and a few things that I'll always recommend, you always want to put a geography anchor in your ad. So, hey, geographic area, it could be your city name, it could be your neighborhood name if you're in a really big market. And then you would want to have just a couple of sentences. I'm talking 1 to 2 sentences where it's just like, and you can even honestly pull out a testimonial of somebody saying, XYZ Med Spa helped me to achieve the goals that I had for my body. That I thought I could never get here. Something like that would be really effective. Notice that I'm not saying weight loss. Notice that I'm not saying anything that's sensitive. And so sometimes, and then you can say, we have multiple solutions. Click now to book your consultation. So that's an example of an extremely safe ad. And I'm just kind of pulling that out on the spot. That would probably go through approvals and run forever just fine. So sometimes you just have to be a little bit creative, and that's something we can help guide every individual spa on, especially if their accounts are sensitive. But I hope that made sense. Sometimes you want to go short and sweet. If you find that your account is sensitive, very short, very sweet, get to the benefit and try not to include words like, again, the service, the treatment specifics, weight loss can be a trigger. So I wish I had something that was just more, never do this, always do this. It's just not that way. And it's not that way, by the way, for the big advertisers as well, when it comes to anything around weight loss, body contouring, things like that.
What are you seeing with AI, ChatGPT, in terms of writing ad copy? Because I know, some of the SEO companies that we work with, they're saying it's not there yet where you can get great content, but in terms of SEO, the blog posts that are human written or human edited are performing better than AI. Are we seeing that with ads, or is AI a fair, reasonable tool to write copy that's in alignment with Meta's policies?
Yeah, a fair, reasonable tool. And I would say it's not quite as good as a fantastic copywriter, but it is getting darn close. And we actually just ran a pretty large experiment. We did it in a few different spaces, including the med spa space, spa space. And we have a specific spa copy bank. We ran some of those ads against some AI ads. And those AI ads, by the way, were actually, they were seeded with our copy bank and other great copywriting techniques and things like that. And still the human copy won out, but not by much. I mean, it's getting so much closer. When we ran that similar experiment, I think it was last summer, it was pretty significant, the difference. Mm-hmm. So I would say we're to a place where if you want to lean on AI significantly And it's ideal if you have like some really good prompts, some really good, kind of foundational elements to seed it with.
Hmm.
I think that you can definitely do a lot of great things with it. So, um, for us within our business, I'm sure for you, Daniela, like our company has really transitioned to being AI first and AI, kind of working very, very closely with AI. And the things that have resulted have been, I mean, staggering, honestly.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah, we use it as like our rough draft. And
yeah,
so we've uploaded our book. We've uploaded all the transcripts from different podcasts. We've done all kinds of stuff to get our specific Addo content creator is what we call it, trained on, our voice, the things that we lean into. We still have either myself or Lucy go through. I haven't like fully trusted it yet. I haven't
yeah, yeah,
been
yeah.
in that place, but it gives that nice foundation where it's like put together this, and then we go through and edit it.
Yes.
But I can see that it's getting better and better. And it's pretty impressive what it can do.
The more you give it, the better the result you're going to get. And that doesn't mean the other cool thing about AI that I have noticed is the prompts don't need to be as complicated as they once were. Once you have trained it on some of your material and your tone and voice, and there's ways to make sure that it knows what that is, honestly, you can let it run a lot looser than having these really long, complicated prompts that you had to have even a year ago.
Yeah, I just explain like my prompt, I talk like I'm talking to a person. And
Yes.
like I'm giving very clear instructions like do this, here's what I'm trying to create. Here's what I'd like you to do first. Include, XYZ in whatever this thing. If it's like a blog post or something like that, make it, X amount of words
Yes.
and optimize for SEO. And then we go in and do all the other stuff.
So good.
Okay, so I know we talked about the election. We talked about, you were saying ad cost in the election were up about 20 to 30% for that short period of time. Is that over now? Are we
Oh
good?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Near instant recovery as soon as that period of time ended.
Okay. And so now here in 2025, what are your recommendations? Um, you know, Q4 tends to be our busiest year or our busiest quarter in spa, and it's so many industries, but in spa especially, there's just everyone's getting ready. There's holiday gifts, there's parties, there's all kinds of stuff. It's peel season. Um, in Q4, there's still, I don't want it to be all doom and gloom. There still were some spas out there that ended on a really great note, did incredibly well. But more often than not, they were like, it wasn't dead, but it wasn't just the insanity that I'm used to in Q4. And so it's, after like a somewhat slow start to the year for many spas as well, they are a little bit sensitive or a little bit hesitant to like jump in the ad pool again after seeing those big increases. So how do we dip the toe back in there? What are the right types of ads we can be running?
The good thing is, I would say low budget is doing very well right now. And I'm going to give like a little ad stack. We can go into it as much or as little as you want on what we're seeing work really well. So, I'm going to just kind of describe almost like a pyramid, okay? And I'll tell you the budget for each of these things. But if you build your ad stack, is what I'm going to call this. If you build your ad stack like what I described to you, you are going to be shocked and amazed at how little you can spend to start getting clients coming through the door. Okay. And by clients, we typically are talking in terms of like consultations booked or treatments booked just straight away, right? It kind of depends on what you're advertising, what the offer is, but that's how you want to think about it. So, the really cool type of ad that we started experimenting with about 18 months ago, and I would say really, really started to take off last year, was a type of ad called lead gen ads. So these are on platform, and people are filling out a form right there on Facebook, Instagram, wherever they're encountering your ad. So instead of going to your landing page, which is always a wonderful experiment, they're just doing it right there on Meta. Okay. Again, when we say Meta, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, the whole family suite of apps. These are just, I mean, they are worker bees. They are doing better than ever. And because of the policy updates that we talked about earlier, we actually anticipate and predict that for this year, these are going to become even better. So they started to get really good. I would say like 18 months ago, we're like seeing really strong signals out of them. And then a year ago, it was like, man, these things started to take off. Now, the cool thing about these, and where we always start our spa clients when we're talking about ads, is about $10 a day is what we want you to spend. I feel like everybody can carve out $10 a day. That's $300 a month from your marketing budget. We can go into marketing budgets and how much we recommend spending and all of that, but $10 a day is a really great starting place for that. What we see is a lot of spas start seeing some initial success. They will bump those up pretty quickly to $20, $30, $40 a day, depending on your overall budget. We'll never let you overspend because you want to make sure that your budget is a percentage of your revenue and not anything more and also not anything less, okay? You want to make sure you're not overspending, underspending, but these are incredible ads. The cool thing is you can attach little messenger bots to these as well for follow-up. And that's another feature that we're seeing starting to do extremely well inside of ads is messenger ads. So between lead gen ads, messenger ads, we're seeing a lot of great success in those two spaces. And again, you're starting at $10 a day. So I feel like that's a wonderful place to kind of dip your toe in. Now you're going to build on that with some additional types of ads. So we want to make sure that we have, and I know, Daniela, you and I have talked about this a lot, but video view ads for all local brick and mortar, anything spa, that you've got to have these. And typically these are either a recycled reel that did really well. And it obviously has to be something that's relevant to your space, right? Like nothing random. Or you're just making a video, and this could be so many things. You could be making a video showing inside of your space. You could be making a video interviewing one of your estheticians about maybe one of your most popular treatments. There's so many ways that you could do this. And we've got about 10 different formats that are working extremely well right now. But these video view ads are just always building fresh new audience. And Daniela, you know that in the past I was like, forget those things. You know, I know that some people saw success, but we didn't see enough consistent success across the board to make blanket recommendations. And I would say that now we definitely see consistent success with these.
We've actually done video view ads for years. We use them on our podcast.
Yeah.
And we would use them to create new audiences that we would retarget whenever we were doing launches.
The cool thing about these video view ads is $1 to $3, and depending, some of you might be in larger markets. So if you're in a larger market, you might be doing $5 a day. These are cheap. And what these are doing, by the way, these aren't necessarily getting you direct conversion. So don't be thinking for $1 a day, you're going to get 10 new clients coming in to your spa each month. That is not the purpose of these. The purpose of these is to lift all boats. Okay. So what you're going to start seeing is you're going to be getting more DMs. You're going to be getting more people going to your links. You're going to be having more people Google you. You're going to just see a lift that just starts to happen everywhere. Okay. So it's really cool. And of course your ads will be retargeting these folks. And so now they're seeing you multiple times. One thing that always bothers me, Daniela, and I hope I can change a paradigm really quickly here, is a lot of folks will say, oh, but I don't want to be running too many ad types because I don't want to like bother people in their newsfeed. And it's like, no, that's the wrong mindset. You or your competitors are going to be showing up in their newsfeed. If I could pay Meta 10 times more to make sure that I was the only advertiser that my ideal client ever saw, I would pay it. Because you want to buy up the newsfeed. We call it the button approach, okay? Buy up the newsfeed. You want to buy up the newsfeed. You want people to think you are the only viable option. You are the best option. You're the number one option. You're the only show in town. And so actually by having all of these different ad types running and, the unfortunate thing about the algorithm is it will control and make sure that people aren't seeing too much of you. But you definitely don't want people to see you only once or twice and never again. That's not the impression you want to have, and that's actually not good for business. Funny enough, Facebook stats tell us that people need to land on your landing pages 2.3 times before taking the desired action. That means if you're sending people to a booking page or a consultation page, they need to land there from an ad 2.3 times before they make that decision. So actually, can you see all of that kind of linking together? You want people to get to those pages more, not less. You want people there multiple times, not one time. One time is like the lucky one, that you capture out of a group. You need people to get there multiple times, which is why we always then recommend following up your advertising stack with retargeting. So, and Danielle, I know you and I have both done this, where you see an ad, you click on it, you're like, this looks so good, but you are picking up a kiddo. You are at a stoplight. Okay.
All the time.
All the time.
I'm like, what was I just doing? How did I get? My brain doesn't work after two kids.
Yes, you were interested. And some of you might even go back to your newsfeed. You're like, oh, wait, I wanted to see that thing. The ad's gone. I know that you guys have done that, right? So this is why retargeting is so important. Yes, this is following folks around and reminding them, hey, you landed here, you clicked on this, you were interested, go ahead and complete that booking. That's a great thing because most of us are scrolling in the margins of our lives. We're standing in line at the grocery store. We are, at pickup for kids. We are doing all of these things where we have just a couple of minutes and then you click on it. And I know many of us have many tabs open of things we were interested in, but didn't complete the purchase, didn't complete the booking, didn't do the thing because we were just in the margins of our life. So that's why retargeting is the next big thing in our ad stack that is so important. So if you just get these 3 things launched, video views, $1 to $2 a day, lead gen, this is the most important type of ad. If you do nothing else, this is the only one I want you to focus on, which is actually getting leads into your business. Okay, people who are actually interested in booking consultations and appointments. And that's, let's say $10 a day to start. And then we follow that up with retargeting. $3 a day, $5 a day to start is perfect. You can see that this is a very affordable budget to start dipping your toes back in, getting results. And then as you get results, and the natural thing that everybody wants to do is, Tara, how do I double this? Double the budget, baby. That's all it takes. And you're going to start seeing that those results start multiplying. So it's very, very easy to build when you do it step by step like this. And you start at an easy budget that doesn't stress you out. And then you start to increase it as you see results.
Now with lead gen ads, would the account have to have a Zapier account? Would they have to have a CRM? Like, how is this all, where does the information go? I think someone would say, okay, lead gen ads, what do I do next?
Okay. The coolest thing is that so many platforms now have integrations for these lead gen ads. Okay. They recognize this was a big thing that Facebook, by the way, these ads have been a feature for years and years and years. I tested them once or twice a year for years and years and years. Total junk. Okay. Like I said, just a couple of years ago, Facebook started doubling down on what was happening with, on making lead gen ads better. And I would say they're phenomenal now. A few caveats there. So yes, number one, you are going to have an integration software that will pull the leads into your email follow-up system. Okay. So your CRM basically. And so many platforms now have direct integrations. You literally click a button to integrate. You're going to select the campaign and boom, all the leads are just going to magically appear in your CRM. So very, very cool. If that doesn't work, you can use a tool like Zapier, which is about a 10-minute setup, if that. And that will do the same thing. So it's just a little in-between tool that you might need. The other thing that's very important to note with lead gen ads, similar to your landing page ads, you have to have a very good, thoughtful follow-up system. We have one for all of our clients that they just immediately install it on their account. You have to have a follow-up system. You can't just get these leads and expect magic to happen. And Daniela, I know you are big into the follow-up, but that is critical for your success.
And when you say follow-up, you're talking about email sequences, depending on where this is going into. this can be text, it can be a phone call. You can create these different touch points on the client journey and have an automation that even if the automated piece is an email, you can get a reminder that, hey, this lead has received this email and now we need to send them a text message or give them a phone call. Depending on how high touch your practice is, depending on, what your sales funnel actually looks like to get these people in.
That's right. And we recommend all three. And I know people will get a little bit nervous about phone calls and things like that. Let me tell you, once you do a few, you're going to see it is so good. It's so effective. Even if people aren't answering the phone, that's often not even the point of making the call. It's so that you look like a professional, business that is excited to meet this person and do business with them, and to take them under your wings. So that is often the point of a phone call. It's not even that people are going to pick up. So many spas will say, Tara, I, implemented the system. Nobody answers my calls. Like maybe 1 out of every 10 will answer the calls. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the point. Why don't you take out the calls just so you can see the difference? And those that take me up on that, they're like, okay, that was dramatic. So the point is, yeah.
Well, as an industry, we kind of got away from the call confirmations.
Yes.
And, we're like, oh, well, this can automatically send a text or this can, you can confirm online. But what that's done is remove a touch point. And so it makes our front desk or our providers feel nervous to call. And so as a spa, when you reintroduce that and say, no, we're going to call to confirm appointments. We're going to call the next day after a service to check on them and see how they're doing. Then it's not going to be weird for them to get a call from you or think that, oh, they're only calling when they want to sell me something or book an appointment. This is just a normal part of our process. We want to talk to you on the phone. And,
yes,
it just makes it such a natural, easy process.
And it increases that loyalty, which we know translates into lifetime value. People start to feel more comfortable and they feel a human connection. You guys, in a world of AI, trust me, that is the new frontier. Relationship marketing, establishing that human connection early and often throughout your customer journeys, that is a differentiator.
I love that. Okay. So we've got a webinar coming up.
Yes.
You want to tell a little bit about the webinar and then we'll kind of wrap this up. I do a quick recap because I've got these ads written down here and I feel like people are going to, if they're listening when they're driving or listening, like I want to give another opportunity to say those 4 types of ads because I think it's really, really valuable to just put that, $300 to $400 budget to start off with, start seeing the results. Because if we disappear, your clients will disappear as well. We've got to put ourselves out there and really do the work to be seen. And if we think back to like what happened during COVID, the people that were online all the time, like posting things, those were the people that actually did incredibly well. And it goes back to that relationship marketing as well. They were building real connections and showing up consistently. So we want to keep that. That's one of the good things that came out of COVID is the, understanding the importance of the human connection. And I think we're just kind of seeing that in a new way in today's world.
100%. I couldn't agree with that more. And so you and I, during our training, we're going to go into this framework quite a bit more. So we'll list out all the details of, we talked about video view ads, lead gen ads, ads that go to a landing page, the difference between the two and how to utilize them. Messenger ads for those of you that want to get even more creative and be more on the forefront of what's really doing very well right now. And then of course, retargeting. So we're going to go into that framework. We're going to show you the ins and outs of it. I know a lot of times when I'm describing it, many people are hoping for a visual. So we're going to give you all the visuals on that and some really cool bonuses that you can implement right away. We're also going to talk about some of the mistakes that advertisers make over and over again on their ads, which just increases the price of your ads and doesn't give you better results. So if you're ever like, I tried ads, I wasted hundreds or thousands of dollars on them. Trust me, it was just a flip of a few buttons that would make all the difference. So I'm going to show you exactly what those buttons are so that you don't make the mistakes that so many advertisers make in thinking they're advertising, but they're not really doing anything that's going to produce results. So we'll go into all of that. And then we're going to talk a little bit deeper about budgets and how much you need to spend exactly. So depending on your revenue and things like that. So it's going to be a really, really cool webinar, workshop. I think we're really excited, Daniela, to share all of this with everybody.
And I just want to, Tara, you and I have done trainings over the years, and I think it's really important, even if you have been to one of our trainings before, it's a new year. Things have changed. Things are different. And that's just like in the spa industry, how we can continually go to trainings and things are continually evolving. It's the same thing in the ad space. So Meta has new updates. There's different strategies that we're doing. Just because something hasn't worked in the past doesn't mean that it's not going to work now. And the great thing is that you can do this and have the opportunity to get in front of more potential clients and or patients for just a few $100s a month. So I really, really encourage you, if you're saying, what do I do now? What do I do next? How am I going to get new people in? Really encourage you to test this out now that we are through the election year, where, all the uncertainty, all that stuff that we were worried about in 2024, it's a new year, it's a new time.
I completely agree. So should I share how to go to register for that workshop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you go to morespaclients.com, you will see Daniela and I there ready to greet you on that landing page, and you'll be able to register. So just pop in your name, your email, and if you want SMS reminders, you can pop that in too. And then we're going to take you through that process, and it is going to be so, so cool. Like, you are going to learn so much on this workshop. And trust me, you might even want to bring a team.
I always learn.
Yes. Bring a team member. If you've got a partner in your business, bring your partner. I mean, like, whatever, you feel would be helpful for. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to just be the one to learn it. I want my front desk or whoever might be running social media or advertising.
Yeah, it's hard to explain secondhand, like, oh, I think we should do this, but I don't remember what that was.
Exactly. It's going to be very rich and full of wonderful information that you'll be able to take and implement right away. So go ahead and register.
Love it. We'll include all the links below this episode. Tara, thank you so much for, as always, inspiring us, sharing with us so much knowledge. I love having you on, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay. Thank you, Daniela. So good to be with you.